Hello, everyone. My name is Sanjeev Mohan. I am very excited to be back talking to many of you who may have heard my previous talks. Data governance is one of my very special, close to heart topics. And today it gives me great pleasure to talk about demystifying data governance platforms. But before we get started, we are at the top of the hour. I think there are a few people who may still be rolling in. So let me give you some just housekeeping items before we get started. Feel free to post your questions in the Zoom window right at the bottom of the screen. You will see there's a Q&A button. So if you click on that, you can post your questions. We will get to your questions during this session. Joining me today is also Sarah Labelle. Sarah is with Eckerson Group. She will be helping us with getting your questions answered. My name, as you know, is Sanjeev Mohan. I work with Eckerson Group and a few other companies since I left Gartner. I was a Gartner research analyst for many years until mid last year when I started my independent advisory. And now I work on data and analytics topics. Joining us today is Sharad. So Sharad, can you please introduce yourself?
This is Sharad Varshney. I'm founder of OvalEdge. I came from the big data experience coming from companies like Hortonworks Cloudera. After that, I founded this company, OvalEdge. And since 7 years, we are building this from ground up, this data governance platform, which we're going to kind of tell more about this coming webinar.
It's so, Sharad, it's ironic that we get to work together again because I covered OvalEdge way back in 2017, 2018, and then I was talking about data governance products and OvalEdge was on my slide, and you walked by and introduced yourself at the Gartner Data and Analytics Summit in Orlando a long time ago.
Exactly.
So this is great to see that all your investment in this product you've taken 5 years. So now we get to talk about it. So I'm going to do my talk first, and I'm going to give the landscape of what is data governance platform, what does it mean, what are the components. But before we go there, so I want to bring up a few data points. So we all know data technology is advancing rapidly. It is, in fact, advancing so rapidly that people like me who are in this space, constantly researching, it is hard for any one of us to keep up. We have so many new products that constantly show up. It's very hard to tell the difference between these, create a short list of how to evaluate these products. And then comes the interesting thing. There's so many times when I talk to customers, we talk about different architectural patterns, not just in data governance, in all of data and analytics. It could be as simple as how to do data integration. Should I use Spark from Apache Spark or Databricks, or should I use Python and Airflow, or should I use Azure Data Factory or AWS Glue or something like that? But the thing is that it's one thing to design it on paper, but when you take it into production, then you suddenly start realizing that streaming ingestion, 100% streaming ingestion sounded great on paper, but the cost is going through the roof. And this is when we start, sort of making changes to our plans. The biggest problem that I see, especially in the data governance and data catalog space, is the very last point here, which is sometimes these products are difficult to implement. And even when they're implemented, the user interface may not be intuitive enough for it to engender good adoption. So it's constantly, I hear people saying, yes, we are on our third attempt to do data governance. And please don't mention the word data governance because we've had 2 bad experiences. Nobody likes this term, and call it data enablement, data intelligence, but whatever it may be, because the first 2 attempts led to us coming up with data governance products that we couldn't adopt. So we'll talk more about challenges before I hand over to Sharad, but let me get started with what is data governance concept, what are the components, then we'll talk about use cases, and then we will hand over to OvalEdge. So what is data governance platform? We're talking about a platform. So here is a definition, and I'm sorry, there's a lot of data here. So I've made a few words bold. So the important things are data governance platform is a unified suite with a common user interface and a common code base. The purpose of a unified data governance platform is to deliver end-to-end governance capabilities. One of my biggest challenges when I used to do client inquiries until a few months ago was where I would tell customers, if you want to do data discovery, then here are the best of breed products. If you want to do lineage, then here are some more products that do only lineage, but they do an amazing job at lineage. If you want to do data preparation, I'll recommend to you 5 other products. If you want to do data quality, here are some other products. So at the end of a call like this, the customer is saying, wow, how many products do I need? How do I stitch them together? How do I find the right skill sets that will help me with all my use cases? So data governance platform is how we are solving this problem, where we are now coming into an era where we are starting to see a unified suite of products. A lot of times customers will ask me that, where is this industry going? What is your market perspective? So this reminds me, last year in April of 2021, Andy Jassy, while he was still running AWS, made a statement that only 5% of global IT spend, I repeat, 5% is in the cloud. Now, even if that is off, it's no more than 20%, which means that there's still 80% of data which is still in some traditional architecture. Most of it will move to the cloud, not all of it, because obvious for some regulatory company security policies. However, we still are at the beginning. We are at the cusp of this massive amount of data that we will have to ingest and then do our analytics on top of. And this is why we feel that data governance is really at the beginning of this journey, and there's still a lot of work to be done. So with that, here is how a data governance platform looks like. So on the two far extreme left and right side are the sources and the consumers. In the center is a data governance platform. What you see in blue is the biggest box of data governance platform, and this biggest box is data catalog. So you see there are a number of features that define a data catalog. And then in orange, you see there are a number of features that define these additional capabilities that turn a catalog into a data governance platform. I just want to mention that Eckerson Group is going to do an event in April called TechVent on this topic of data governance platform. And if you get a chance to attend that event, you may see some boxes have moved around, because these boxes are not like written in stone how a platform should be. So I'm going to go through these really quick in the interest of time, so we have more time for your questions and obviously for the main attraction, which is the OvalEdge platform. So connectors is where our journey starts. We need to have a robust set of connectors that go to all kinds of data sources. What data sources do I have in my organization? I have operational, I have analytical. These may be structured, like RDBMS, semi-structured, like NoSQL, non-relational databases, or unstructured. They may be internal to an organization, or they may be external. They may be on object stores in Parquet files, JSON, XML, CSV, or they may be coming on streaming message buses. So depending upon what sources you are going to govern, first thing you do is you ensure that there is a connector for your sources and your targets. Because remember, at the end of the day, we are trying to see the journey of data from source to consumption. So you need to have the right connectors. A product cannot have connectors for every single system. So this is a reason why a data governance platform should provide a connector development kit or some way for you to very easily, hopefully using configuration, be able to connect to your specific system for which there is no connector. And once you develop that connector, maybe that connector can then become part of the overall ecosystem of a marketplace. Okay, so once I connect, then the next big thing in catalog I do is I discover my data, I tag it, profile my data, understand what is in it, and then I use a number of built-in features or manually, but hopefully we are doing 80% of work in an automated fashion using machine learning. I classify my data. Here is where I can classify my data either by my business classification, like this is customer, or I may do it using like this is sensitive data, this is PII data, things like that. Business glossary is how I define a common place so I can define the meaning of my business terms. So we do not have any confusion as to what does that interest rate column mean? Is it the interest rate that was quoted to the client? Is it the interest rate that was negotiated? Is it the one that was locked in? There could be many different definitions. So we use business glossary. Lineage to me is one of the biggest reasons why we use these products today, because everybody wants to build a trust. They want to know, where did this data come from? Who transformed this data? Not only end users want that trust in data, but regulators want it too. So lineage is how we tie the journey of that data. That data needs to be curated. So we know we have a trusted source, certify that data so end users can see that this is the gold standard. This is what I should use. A workflow engine is extremely important because workflow is orchestration behind the scenes, making sure that the new users, existing users, they only have access to what they need. And then how we consume the data is more and more becoming more intuitive through knowledge graph. This is where, you see search here, we are able to see a relationship of data attributes. And then finally, it's not just the end users who are searching through a catalog, but also applications. So we need a programmatic way to connect to our catalog. Now, extending that, things like master data management, data stewardship and policy. This is where we are defining policies on the tags or the classification that I discussed earlier. Who should be allowed to see sensitive data from which location? GDPR, data residency, data sovereignty, all of these things hinge upon the metadata that was generated and the policies that were built on it. So I can do data privacy. I can govern who has access to the right data, also known as data authorization. Then data quality has traditionally been a separate piece of software. But now that I know my data and I have the metadata, a tight integration with data quality, so I can feed the information to data quality. Data quality fixes the problems, remediates it, and I can then write back into my catalog the updated value. So this bidirectional connection is what's making a data governance platform its data catalog and data quality and integration with other data integration products. So we will move to what are some of the use cases for data governance platforms. Before 2020, we were using data governance purely for what we used to call command and control. Or by command and control, what we mean is more like risk management, Sarbanes-Oxley, Basel II, all kinds of compliance regulations. That was the main use case. In order to do that, we had to discover the data, we had to do data security privacy, access control, and understand impact of changes in the source. How has data governance platforms changed? How are the use cases different? I have gone on record saying that data governance is truly the sexiest job of 21st century, because on the right-hand side is what we call data intelligence. This is where we are democratizing data. We are unlocking the potential of data so we can do more with it. But we cannot just open up the kimono and just start doing more with data. We have to make sure the data is governed and secured first. So we are now starting to do self-service analytics on data that is not just structured. See, few years ago, we only did decision-making on data that came from ERP, CRM, structured data. So that data is only 10% of organization's data, but almost entire decision-making was happening on that structured data. Today, because we have expanded the data governance scope, we have more sources, I can do more self-service analytics and do data science work. Data quality is finally starting to get addressed. We are exposing the data through this user interface, knowledge graph-based data governance platform, which is how we are also increasing data literacy within our organization. Other use cases we are addressing are data sharing. In the past, if I'm a retailer and I have suppliers, I would make a copy of their data and secure FTP, email it, or somehow I would lose sight of that data. But today we are doing data sharing, data exchanges, marketplaces, whereby we are expanding the boundaries of data governance all the way into how our marketplace is consuming data. The last point I want to make is cloud migration. What is the role of data governance platform and cloud migration? Now that I have intelligence about my on-premises data assets, I can make more intelligent decisions on what needs to be migrated into the cloud, why, and what's the right configuration, like right resource allocation, so I can have a more intelligent cloud migration. All of this that you see is leading to how data governance platforms are no longer IT-led, they are now business-led. The target users, we see data stewards are still extremely important. They are the ones who own and run the platform, but we are now opening up the platform to data analysts. I have gone on record of saying that, in my opinion, in the next 3 to 5 years, we may see that the number of users of data governance platforms is going to exceed that of BI. And the reason is because data governance platforms will help you do the visualization to some extent. You will still need the BI tool. So I'm not saying you won't. For very deep drill down, drill sideways, all of that, you will need BI tool. But your entry point will be through a data governance platform. And the reason is because it's not just reports. We are also looking at machine learning models, queries. So we are keeping track of all of these in the cloud. We are managing access to data and metadata, using more and more machine learning rather than rule-based. And it's becoming a tool for collaboration. So this is where people are going and adding their annotations. And so you get in one place, you see what are the data owners saying and what are the users saying. And finally, we are seeing a lot of streaming data also come into place. Now, I'm going to go to the last slide and then my time's up. So I'm going to hand over. But what I want to talk about next is that it's not all land of roses and honey and nirvana. There are challenges. What are those challenges? So today we see, I've already talked about this question I used to get all the time, the multiple products. Each product has its own user interface. Even sometimes these multiple products may come from a single vendor, but may have multiple user interfaces. Why is that? Because the vendor may have cobbled together some acquisitions from different places and created a platform, but these platforms for data steward is different for data analyst versus a data engineer. And now they are literally different products and different user interface. To get them to work together, we end up with very complex workflows. And then invariably you find, oh, this functionality is missing, which means now either I get another product or I hard code it. So roles become unclear. There's also lack of adoption. Poor adoption comes because there's lack of incentives. If it's too hard, people just won't adopt it and they may not have the skills. So these are some of the reasons that lead to a very classic problem in data governance platforms, and that is adoption, lack of adoption. So this is where OvalEdge is going to talk about their product and how they are overcoming some of these challenges. So Sharad, I will go to your slide here and let you take over from here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sanjeev. So the same slide, but different representation of that is the way we have architected this product. Again, we took like quite a bit of time to create this product. Like it's not like created in a day or acquisition or mergers, as Sanjeev explained. It took 5-6 years to kind of build this platform from ground up. And that's why it's very comprehensive in that manner. So first thing is we have a catalog, which where we not only crawl the various application side, ETLs, data warehouse, visualization software, and AI ML software. Right? We crawl all these softwares and put it into our platform. Right? We support variety of applications, including healthcare, Epic to Salesforce to SAP, etc. Plus, we also have a connected development kit where you can do and build it on your own. Then we have ETLs, crawling capabilities like Informatica, Matillion, SSIS, etc. And that is the key part of OvalEdge because we are independent vendor in the data governance space. So the people who are ETL vendors, if they create their own, they are only focused on their ETL software. They are not focused on competitive ETL product. We have been a neutral company and we have no association with any ETL company or anywhere. We can compete with, we have Matillion to SSIS to Informatica to Talent to all ETL products we combine and give you the one lineage basically. Then also we have a data warehousing where Snowflakes to Databricks to Google BigQuery to Teradata, every product is supported in the data warehouse layer. And then obviously in the visualization layer with the Tableau, Power BI, Click, etc. So we have a very comprehensive list of connector to connect every part of that. Then as you build the catalog, what we allow is to immediately use of the catalog to various use cases, right? So the various use cases means you can use it for data discovery use case, governed collaboration, you can collaborate on it, you can do collaborative analytics within the platform. Then we have a tools for privacy champion, for privacy compliance officer, we have tools. We have tools for developer to adoption, like comparing schemas, comparing production versus dev schema, et cetera. And then we also have impact analysis tool, so if the changes I'm changing A places, what would be the downstream impact? So these are the tools really built for adoption of the product, which help you to build, so for example, developer, why do I need to use it? The data governance platform. The developer is highly useful for impact analysis. So we have customers who use Epic Upgrade all the time. And when they upgrade their SAP or ERP system, after that, they have a downstream impact of thousands of reports. They can immediately come and see that. Earlier, it used to take 4 or 5 months to manually go and validate with 4, 5, 6 developers working upon it. Now they come into OvalEdge and they have a report in a day, right? So that's a kind of a direct impact. But the main important part also is that we are focusing on adoption side on the data end user, but the equal focus is also given on the various aspect of the data governance, which is data access management, data literacy, and data quality. And it's built around that. The data access allow you to give you access to the data, which is again through every part of it, whether it's within OvalEdge or inside the data warehouse. So whether you are a Snowflake or Databricks or any data warehouse you're using, you can give access management on that. Then this basically give you the ability to access the data. Then data literacy help you build the trust in the data. So literacy allow you to kind of understand the data, as well as understand, create consistency definitions through business glossary, etc. So there is a whole module about data literacy. And then data quality improves the quality of the data through the data quality improvement lifecycle. So these three areas, the objective of the data governance is providing the high quality, trustworthy data to everyone at the time when they need it, right? So those are the objectives. So let's go to the detail of it and how does it work. So the crawler is one page where we have variety of the crawlers we support. You can simply use, as I said, that we have all kind of connectors. We can bring it and then we can brought the data from different connectors. Then after that, once you see the data, right, from the various connectors, you can also see kind of like there is a various are there to what I want to crawl it, what I want to profile it, why I want to have the access management, what the policies are. So there are so many features and functionalities. What you want to crawl, what you don't want to crawl, what you want to profile, how you want to profile. There are various options available for every aspect of it. So you build this, get all the metadata into OvalEdge. After that, you put together some sort of a comprehensive security into OvalEdge. So security is something that you gather the database or files or S3 files or anything kind of system. We allow this very comprehensive offering of this kind of roles where these roles allow you to give you the security on, like, you have the read permission, write permission, preview permission at the row level, at the column level, at the kind of like a user persona base. So you can apply the security on it. Right? So once you apply the security on it, then after that, you can open up for everyone. So now the data is available for everyone once this security is applied. Now, there are multiple ways you can enter into the data. The one is a very guided navigation you can create for customers. Like this is now within the education data, I want to go and see this, within the post-secondary data. It's guided navigation you create for your data. Just like if you go to a shopping mall have a very guided navigation to, buy this, buy that. So you're creating your experience for your end user where, they can easily come there and get to the data, which is mostly frequently used, the graduation report, which you want to pursue, and then they can get to that data. But sometimes the mall is not always the right experience where customer want to go and actually buy something or they're looking for something. So they need to search something, right? So when they can also do and say, oh, no, I'm looking for customer data. So that is another way that, okay, we are looking for customer data here. Now you can start searching upon it. So the one is the guided navigation, which a governance team is creating on that. Another one is a searching. And the searching, you have ability to everything. So if you're searching upon everything, then you have the option to filter it down. You need to see whether it's certified or non-certified, and all this kind of information you want to see into the data, right? So which allow you to see the data, what exactly the customer information is, that if you are looking for various tables, then you only want to pursue the tables, then you can see which one is certified, which one is not certified, what is the right information, what is the wrong information. Some information you will get it here, and there's a lot of options for this one. And then you get to see what exactly the data is. Once you see the data, you see that, okay, this is the table, this is the information, who is using this data, how many times they have commented on it, how many times they have viewed it, how many times they have queried it, so all these kind of data. So we know that, the Rachel is our demo expert, how many times she have done the demo. So we can kind of see that information right up front. So that's kind of information you get upfront. Then obviously you can see its data, what exactly in the data itself is. Of course, you can see that. And if some social security number is there, then obviously it will be masked. And I will come to that, how you mask this information. You can see its relationship to other data element, how it's interlinked with other data sources, how one data is linked with other data sources. And you can move from one data source to another data source. And then from there, you can also navigate from one relationship to other relationship. So this kind of a guided navigation, which allow you to do that. But I will go back again to the same table. Like you can see its lineage, how the data is moving from one system to another system. And you can see that, okay, how the data is coming from, from different tables, how it is merging to the, let's say the reporting system. You can see the reports, what the reports are really contains. Again, this is a Tableau report. You can view the report right there, and you can kind of consume where the report is coming from. So you can consume all this information upfront. So the catalog is automatically built. Every part of this is automatically built. You do not have to do any part of that. It's the crawling, profiling, lineage building, relationship building. All these are algorithms in OvalEdge, which builds these catalog, right? Then you extend this catalog through putting the business description. You can have some sort of the governance committee meeting and the whole governance structure to put the business description, the certification program, etc. That come through the stewardship program. That who is the owner, who is the steward. Obviously, you can see around that, but you can also see a lot of additional information, who created it, etc. There's a lot of information is available all the time. You can see not only that, you can go to every column level and see that information as well. So I'm looking for customer name or column name or any information around it. And I can see the lineage at the column level as well. So it's not just a column. The lineage is not at the table level or the report level, but it's also at the column level, where the data is coming from, how it is consumed. Every aspect of the data is available to you. So that gives you a very easy perspective to view the data from if you are doing the data discovery. Right? Any business analyst or data analyst or anybody who wants the data discovery, that's platform is available to do the data discovery. Then I will come down again to my same report is that, but the problem here is there's too much data, which is there on applications, on the ETLs and data warehouse and visualization. There are hundreds of thousands of reports are there. There are hundreds of thousands of tables are there. How do I would say that we need a structure where we want to put together some sort of a governance in place. We want to create a nice structure for our end users to kind of go and view the data easily. That's where something we call it tagging. So tagging is a concept where you organize your data nicely and cleanly. So the people who know the data, right? The people who already are aware about the data, who are extending the metadata, they can create those tagging structure and then they can apply the tags to various, and then it's not just a tag, it's just like a simple tag. You not only have the tagging, you can put the description into it. You can also add a lot of additional fields to it and kind of organize your data very cleanly. And then after that, once the data is cleanly organized, you can tag the data wherever it exists. So if you go to a table, you will see that, okay, how many tags it is having. You can apply multiple tags to a table and every table or report, etc. And then you can see that information. So that part is basically the one of the main area is the literacy aspect, which you do it for easily. People can kind of consume a lot of data very easily. Right? So that's one part of this. Another part is considering the data literacy aspect is business glossary. So building a business glossary is one aspect of it, where we have the best practices, which we are teaching through the Data Governance Academy, that how do you build business glossary. So this whole academy there are probably 4 or 5 chapters are there in the academy, which only talk about how do you build the business glossary, what are the different best practices on it.
So Sharad, what is the academy? Can you tell us?
Yeah. So academy is our new initiative within OvalEdge, where you can go to academy.ovaledge.com, where you can simply just write your username, password, just one, and then you can enter into it. And it have the lessons in video format where you can learn about data governance concepts. And again, I'll just show you very quickly on that. You can learn about data governance concepts and see that what exactly is available there. So it's like Data Governance 101. You can see those chapters and various data literacy, data quality, data governance fundamentals, and literally go through the videos and blogs and certain part of it and keep continuing those video sessions. You can see the quizzes. Every part is available there. Very comprehensive. A lot of information is available through the whole chapters are there. So you can take the courses and you can learn about data governance concept. You can build business glossary. You can build every aspect, what you need to do it, why you need to do it, how you need to do it. Every aspect is answered through the academy. And the very courses are there, and the courses are in video format. So you can very easily consume.
Is there like a certification or do you plan to have a certification?
We plan to have a certification at the end of it. So right now, as you are attending it, you are passing you are basically giving the exams kind of thing. And at the end of it, you will get the certification.
I see.
Once you complete it. So that program is right now only 3 chapters are available, 3 programs. We are supposed to have 5 programs on it. Then Data Governance 101 will be completed. We are targeting the March 31st to be complete this academy. But 3 chapters are already there. So you should start, any customer want to watch it, it's more than welcome. It's one of the best thing in data governance. You can learn practical implementation. Every information in this has been actually implemented at the customer, lesson learned, And it's not just a theoretical concept where you read a book around it. It's actually implemented through the tool, through the various process around it. And then we build this academy.
It's like a practical guide.
It's a practical guide, yes. But it still does not only focus on OvalEdge. If you use some other tool, you can also use it. If you're using spreadsheet, you can still use it as well. Actually, our customer migrate from, Airtable or spreadsheet to OvalEdge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because everybody do not use tool and to do this.
That's interesting. So, Sharad, going back to, took you away from business glossary. By the way, there's a question on data profiling. Somebody wants to know more about data profiling and reports.
Yeah, so I will come to some part of the business glossary so that there are a lot of features are available in the business glossary to kind of standardize your data. So we consider this business glossary is one of the standard way of standardizing it. Say, for example, you have a country, for example, right? So country is supposed to be information, but you can associate your data element to the country field. So how does it work is that, let's say, you're using the country and then you will have some sort of a data associated into it. So once you associate some data into one data element, then what it will do is we'll start learning from it. And then it will give you a lot of recommendation that where else the country field is. So you can say, okay, these are the various country fields as well. You can see the data associated to it and you can confirm that. So once you confirm it, it will become the country field as well. So this is a kind of artificial intelligence, but guided navigation, which allow you to find all the PII as well as non-PII, as well as, you can use this information for anything. It's not a specific only for PII data. You can use it for healthcare data. You can use for, any kind of information. You standardize it, you put some sort of in the learning phase. And after that, it learns and then creates this information. So why it is advantageous? Because it's learning from your own data, it will learn better. And it will give you the navigation where you can just do thumbs up and thumbs down. So that is the one of the part which help you to easily see all this information at one place and kind of understand that easily. So that's a machine learning aspect of OvalEdge. Then this business glossary is again the heart and soul of OvalEdge, where it allow you to kind of like using this, but also you can classify your data as well. So you can say this and you can say this belongs to various classification. So we have classified this in the various, GDPR regulations wise, but these classification are customizable. You can customize it for your own term as well. So it's not only a specific classification, you can use a variety of classification into that. So those classifications are available. And then obviously you can associate that, you can see the associated data, what is associated, what is recommendation, and every aspect other than that. And then everywhere you will see the association into it. You can also see that, this classification exists on the catalog. You can also use this for securing it as well. So you can say that I want to mask it or I want to restrict it. So for example, you have a social security number. So if you identify the social security number, you can mask this. So whatever the data is associated with the social security number would be masked and you will not be able to view this information. So that is where the business glossary is one mechanism where you are standardizing it, you are securing it, you are protecting it, as well as you are putting a standard in place. As well as you are finding all this information from variety of the information. You have one social security number at one place, but you also have the ability to see, what is the authorized source for my social security number, or what is the authorized source to get this data from. So this information is available to everyone from the data literacy aspect. So similar to that, the way I explained that you have a the data literacy aspect, similar to that, we have data access management and we have the ability in data quality. Data quality is more about data quality rules, how you can write the rules, etc. Because it's a very comprehensive feature-rich platform which allow you to complete almost all the use cases in the data literacy, data access management, which is the privacy compliance and data quality aspect of it. Plus, a lot of tools are available for comparison. So some tools I generally like to see it, people want to see it is like comparing my schemas from one schema to another schema, comparing profiling results, right? So those are some tools which is very useful for some IT people might be here. So you're migrating your dev to production and you don't know what is broken or how many things are, whether they have been properly migrated or not. You just compare your dev to production and you can see what is comparison between them. Or you can compare from one production instance versus another production instance, or you are migrating from your on-prem to cloud. You can compare your on-prem environment, you can compare your cloud environment, and you can see what is going on. And I have seen these examples in our real practical example where we have run this and we compare it and immediately find out the root cause. Otherwise, you would have gone to the bugs in the production system and would have screwed up your environment. But those things are early enough, you can find this. And these are tools, which is, again, it's helpful for end user adoption, which is a developer adoption. Because business user adoption is always going to happen through the data discovery phase. But what is for me as a developer? What is for me as a BI developer? You can do impact analysis as a BI developer. You can do, obviously, the data discovery through for them. So the tools are there for every kind of user persona. And that's the main part of OvalEdge. Again, it's a very comprehensive, feature-rich software to almost cover all the use cases. And I just want to focus on one aspect of it and want to take some, some question and answers into that session.
We have a lot of great questions. I know we can go on for a very, very long time because there's just so much detail to what you've built, but maybe we can go through the questions because I think that we can answer. So I can see, I'm going to go from the very bottom and let me read it out. So we have a question here from an attendee. Says for data lineage purposes, currently OvalEdge can understand source code as follows: SQL, PL SQL, T-SQL, Teradata SQL, BigQuery, SQL logs, Tableau, Power BI. When do you plan to support Python, maybe with Pandas, PySpark, and other major Python-based ETL and ELT?
So Python should be coming, is one of the big in demand. And again, the SQL building tool, it took us a long time to build the SQL building parsing capability. Same thing, we are working on the Python code. Most of the time, when we use this programming language, most of the time we are working on a couple of customers with actually the Python. So what they're using is that they have a configuration files, the configuration files in the sense that, hey, I'm configuring, move this file from A to B, and use the Python code to write this metadata information from the file, and then they move the file, right? So the programming is complex always. So in that area, because every configuration in the file about the lineage, it took us only one day to build the lineage from files to OvalEdge, because that is easier. Because Python, because it's a programming language, so you can do what your imagination is doing. It's not always possible to reverse engineer the programming language, especially the programming language is open, which is Python. Like I gave you the example. So most of the time when you build your programming patterns, in that pattern, the lineage building is a custom job, which generally take about a week to 2 weeks to build that custom job and build the lineage into OvalEdge, right? So that is where we have this open architecture where you can write your advanced jobs. And we have like Java classes, you can plug it into the platform, the open architecture, which let you build those lineage very easily. Because that's the purpose is ultimately, I want to understand the lineage and I want to automate that process. So if you have a Python language or any kind of language, probably the chances are that you must be using some sort of a programming files or something. The patterns of the programming would be there. That patterns we can consume and then build the lineage.
That's great. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to keep moving quickly.
Yes.
There's a question here. Which workflow engine is used in OvalEdge for workflow?
So we do not use a workflow engine in general. We have built our own workflow, which is allow you to do the templatization of the workflow. We provide out-of-the-box template, as well as you can create your own templates. You can extend the workflow. And it's a simple user navigation system, which is a service request. If you see the service request in OvalEdge, you have a very comprehensive way of approval process. You can see, and those approval processes are designed through a templatization of the workflow. So it's in the security domain, again, I want to just give you a very approval process. You can kind of design your approval process, and you can kind of very easily, what kind of request you want to have it, and approval process, you can design it. So there is a lot of templatization is there, which is very simple to configure, nothing too complexity. Designed for data governance purpose, almost every data governance use cases can be covered. And it's still simple. We do not use a outside process. And that's the reason we have built everything ground up, which is easier for adoption. Otherwise, again, multiple tool integration does not work really well. But these service requests can be integrated with ServiceNow or Jira to fulfillment. Suppose you want to build a fulfillment in ServiceNow, or which is already using it for DBAs are using ServiceNow or Jira, that can be integrated to it. But approval process can happen within OvalEdge.
That sounds great. Another question is, Ajay is asking, we have discovered two data sets, one from SAP and another one from a CRM application. I want to combine these two data sets to create a single customer record. How can DGP help me with this modeling capability that I need?
So we have something called projects. Everywhere you go into OvalEdge, let's say you go to the data catalog screen. Again, I will come very quickly on it. And let's say you find two tables and you say, these are my customer tables are there, right? So you say, okay, I need a customer table. So you search those two tables. And there is always ability for you to add the table to the project. So these tables are already moved to project, but you can just click on it and the table is added to the project. Very simple. Then you can go to your project and it will always use to default project. So customer view 360, all these tables are there, right? And now this is there in multiple systems. Now we have this ability using open architecture. You can move this data to Snowflake staging environment, or you can move this data to any other environment. So all this data will be moved to one time, and you can do the collaborate analysis into those environments very easily without have to go through, the idea is self-service user can kind of do it, because you cannot join the data in ERP to CRM with any technology. It's not possible practically. Although the virtualization allow you to do that, but there is a lot of, this technology has not matured, the virtualization. So although on the other side, the technology which is mature, which is cloud data warehouse, those has been matured, but you can move the data there. And then after that, you can do the analysis in that system.
So this made me think of another question. Are you planning to have a dbt connector so you can move some of this work that Ajay is asking into dbt and do the merge there and push it down to Snowflake?
So again, you can write a Java class. We already have the Java classes, which is move data to Snowflake staging, which is just take the data and move this to staging. So those facilities are already there. But we are coming up with a comprehensive offering right there within OvalEdge, where you can kind of like move the data also to some of the supported environment, like Snowflake or Databricks, or some of the environment, maybe, it depends upon like what platform people support. But those two we will definitely support, and maybe Teradata, BigQuery as well.
Okay, thanks for that. This is a very important question. Can the tool be used in cloud platforms, AWS, Azure, and GCP?
Yeah, obviously answer yes. We support in all platforms. Again, not only we support them, S3 out of the box, Google Cloud Storage out of the box, BigQuery out of the box, Redshift out of the box. So those, most of the platform, and not only is supported, but also underlying engine on technology of them is also supported.
Where is OvalEdge deployed?
So it can be deployed on-prem or in cloud. So you can deploy your AWS or GCP or Azure, as well as we in Q2, we are also coming our SaaS offering. In Q2, we will be available only on AWS side, but we will be deploying it on our AWS account. So SaaS offering would be available in Q2, where you can simply start OvalEdge there. But at this point of time, it is available to either you can down on-prem or on your private cloud.
I see. And SaaS in Q2.
SaaS is coming in Q2. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Another question is your data catalog using semantic search capabilities?
Yes. So the idea is you can do a lot of searching, like similar word like that. Those fuzzy logic and those kind of searches are already is supported. But the one thing I would say that if anybody is saying and anybody say that our search would be as good as Google searches, the answer is no. It will not be as good as Google searches, because Google search is enhanced by billions of dollar investment and billions of users supports it. Then only this becomes better. Otherwise, Bing would have created the same kind of search engine. They are not able to create the same kind of search engine because of the capability, because they don't have billions of users. Any enterprise search cannot be as good as Google search. We need to assume that it cannot be as good. But still, though, we have this semantic search capability, we still use machine learning to kind of enhance that. But we also provide ability to put your own tagging, put your own keywords to the search results so that you can get better search results. But being assured that if somebody is promising you that search will be out of the box, it's like Google search. I just give you the very good example that search cannot be as good as Google. It's just enterprise search is just not possible to have it. Practical reason, the technology has not advanced enough that much.
Another question, is your data quality process using augmented technology?
So we use in data quality rules, we use the source system processing power. So we run the queries on the source system. Say, for example, if you're running the data quality rules on Snowflake, we will run a Snowflake query. If you're using Databricks, we will do Databricks SQL. If you're using Teradata, we will use Teradata SQL. So we have a sample profiling where we can bring the sample data in OvalEdge and we can profile it. Suppose you have billion rows. That billion rows can be only profiled using either source system processing power or you have to do sampling. If you have a data sitting a billion rows somewhere and you want to profile it using some sort of a processing, you need a processing engine. You can bring Spark or something, then you can do it, but you need a external processing, a technology there to be there.
Okay. I think we have time for one question. We have a lot of questions that came in. Allah is asking, can OvalEdge data governance platform implement different styles of adaptive data governance like autonomous governance?
So generally, again, when I say that those are the theoretical subjects, when it comes to the practicality, we have worked, we are building the academy, which we gave this style called progressive data governance, means that you can start with 1 or 2 people as a data governance manager, and you can run your data governance program to 10 people or whatever the number of people you have it. Now, it is very hard to get a 10 people team in your data governance to do the data governance and prove the ROI, etc., etc. You can very easily convince your management to start 1 or 2 people to start data governance, and you can see the value, and then you go up, right? If you want to create I need a 20 people team and I want to do the data governance and I need an initiative start tomorrow, it is very hard to convince the management. And a lot of the top-down data governance projects also fail because of the reason is that, focus area is not there. You have to identify a focus area. What is the most important for you? Is the quality is important? Is the literacy is important? Is the access management is important? And then focus upon it and then move it. Again, these are the practical lesson learned. Our product offer everything. You can do everything, but I'm giving you practical advice, which is implementable possible.
I want to second that. Being ex-Gartner, I am guilty of inventing and creating a lot of theoretical terms, adaptive governance, augmented data governance. And I've always said this in every opportunity I've had, focus on the problem you have. Don't worry about the label that people put. Label doesn't mean anything. So I have one last question and then we'll end. So, we talked about how you showed to create a project and you move the customer table there. So this person is now asking, when you merge data from SQL systems, how do you maintain the relationship of primary keys?
So we keep this information from source system and this one. As you moved it, you will create the lineage entry in OvalEdge, right? So the primary keys, so when the data is moved to Snowflake or staging environment in there, the primary key is, if it is not there, it's not there, right? If it is there, it is there. So when the data moves to the source, the destination system, it's open-ended, right? The data in the transactional system have generally the primary key, the foreign key, etc. You can augment that to the big data system as well. But most of the time in the data warehousing space, as the data warehousing is changing, as elasticity is coming upon, sometimes you want to flatten the data. Sometimes you want to create a Snowflake kind of data model. Sometimes you want to create whatever the model you want to create. Based on that, you have to use this mechanism to move around and do this. But OvalEdge, what it does is facilitates the data movement. You can write your primary key foreign, you can put it there. But if you want to create the primary key foreign key in the source system, then it will crawl it and tell you this is the primary key foreign key. So it's a abstraction layer, basically.
Yeah. That is great. Excellent answer. Thank you so much for that. Sharad, we are at top of the hour, so we should end here. And Sarah, any last words about recording or anything you want to share before we finish?
Sure. Everyone who signed up for the webinar will be receiving a follow-up email from us that contains a link to the recording, as well as a link to a paper that Sanjeev wrote that includes a profile on OvalEdge and, on data governance.
Great. With that, thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure having you join this call. Thanks for staying the whole time. Talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you.